What is going on, everyone? It's your guy Cole Jackson, back today on Road Graders, brought to you by Profit X, our new channel sponsor. They'll be sponsoring all videos this year. Stay tuned for a word from them here in a moment, but we are going to be talking about week one, getting you ready for Sunday night, the rematch in Buffalo against the Buffalo Bills. We'll be talking about some of the things that went wrong in Buffalo that I think they're going to have to do differently in this matchup. Obviously, both teams are going to be a little bit different, but also very much the same. And so I want to look at the run game for Baltimore and what went wrong, because I think it played a key piece in things getting a little bit out of control, especially in a snow game in that cold January weather up in upstate New York. So before we jump into it, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this matchup. What's the biggest piece you're looking for? And like I said, Profit X is now the proud sponsors of Road Graders. Sportsbooks are always stacked against you. The house takes its cut no matter what. But with Profit X, you're not betting against a book. You're betting against other fans. That is their key difference, their secret sauce. That means fair lines. As you can see here, you can get a better line than on more traditional sports books. You're getting better value, real competition. Stop letting the sport book dictate the odds. Take on your peers and win on your own terms with Profit X. And you can use promo code ROADGRADERS to get a sign-up code, and that will be present at the top corner throughout this video. So thank you to Profit X for sponsoring. So we are going to be diving into, I got 4 plays here that we're going to look at that were, basically bad run plays. And the key here is, and the reason I'm focusing on this is because all 4 of these plays were the first 4 Derrick Henry touches in the game. So all this happens in the first quarter. I think it was a big reason why the Ravens struggled to get off to a quick start. If you go back to that week 1 matchup, the first play from scrimmage, Derrick Henry goes 80 yards for a touchdown, and we'll kind of see some key differences. So there's 2 things that I think the Ravens really struggled with here. The first is obviously going to be execution. You can call the perfect play, but if your O-line doesn't execute, as we're about to see, it doesn't matter. So execution, obviously a huge piece, but also the run style. They went with their, kind of outside zone. They use a sweep play in here, and I think what you saw work in the first matchup was running a little bit more downhill, using some more pullers, more of a gap scheme. That's what Buffalo really struggled with last year, and the Ravens come out and go with the zone attack, and I think that's where they get really struggle. So you're going to see here on the first play, they're just going to go simple zone play, and they're doing it out of heavy. They did this quite a bit in this matchup. Get that out of your way. Sorry, folks. So they're just going to run simple zone with Pat Ricard out of the I formation. So they're just trying to, zone block here, and just multiple misses. So you see it sets up pretty well. This is kind of what you want to see. You got Daniel Falele trying to overtake the 3-tech here, and then you got Rosengarten who needs to cut off Roseau. If that happens, you got Ricard stepping up, you got Linderbaum climbing, and this is really what that I formation's about, right? It's about getting your center or your unblocked guard into the backside backer, and then your fullback's able to take on the front side backer. Should set up well, but watch the right side of the line. So watch Falele and Rosengarten. Both get their face crossed right there, and their 2 guys are in on the tackle. And someone on the front, I think, is that Ed Oliver? Ed Oliver came back inside. Also, Ricard misses his block. So, there's 4 guys missing a block there. And so this is where, the zone attack, really relies on key execution. Now we're going to see a sweep play here. So you're going to see pulls from 2 of the Ravens' offensive linemen. Right there, they're going to get McCary and Linderbaum, but again, that backside of the O-line. So this is going to be Falele, and tough block here. So basically what has to happen, they have a 1-tech here. I believe that's Jones. So Falele has to cut off and take that outside or that inside shoulder, and he's shading that 1 gap. So no, and he can see that pre-snap. There's no way he can't. So he needs to cut across because Linderbaum and McCary are going to pull. And so when they pull here, see, and you can see good on Falele. That's a good quick step across, but he's got to maintain that block. And the problem is the quickness in his step results in him standing up. And you can see right there, he basically stands up. He turns sideways because all he's trying to do is just get a cutoff block here. Everything else sets up not too horribly, But Jones crossing Falele's face, and honestly, Andrews misses another block there. So you're going to see Andrews come down on Milano. So watch that. Andrews coming down on Milano. Milano's going to get inside. So just, again, execution, right? Like, again, you can call the perfect play, but I also don't like how we're not running downhill here. This was getting a little cute. You're trying to run a sweep play. It's just not something that the Ravens did really well on toss plays, because it got the ball outside quickly. On sweep plays, there's that delay in the backfield. Great. So you're going to see an ace block or a deuce block here between Ronnie Stanley and Patrick McCary. So they're going to both start on Ebenezer. And what needs to happen here, because this is coming outside, is McCary needs to take over and peel off Ronnie. And that's kind of what happens, except McCary peels off into Milano and Ronnie peels off into Bernard. Nobody blocks Ebenezer right there, and he's just going to make the block. So just, to be this far into the season and having that poor of communication, it just really spoke to the execution issues. But again, running outside, getting cute. Now we're going to, have another play where we're going to get a little cute. So they're going to motion Likely across. Andrews is right here, so that brought DeMar Hamlin down into the box. So Likely's going to come across, and he's trying to pull the safety. And then Mark Andrews is going to go on a split. So right here, but the problem is, because the design here is for Likely to pull Hamlin, Hamlin's going to come into the backfield and play the run. Either he's on a blitz or he was playing, most likely he was a blitz, or he read this really well. But what happens is when they go into the split zone, you get a deuce block here from the right tackle and right guard on Rizzo. Nobody blocks Hamlin. Hamlin just comes into the backfield. So then, that's getting a little cute with your play design. And again, it's a sweep play. It's kind of outside zone, more of a sweep with that handoff, taking a lot of time in the backfield. Lamar Jackson isn't a true threat. I think they didn't run one option concept after the Ravens just killed the Steelers with option concepts. So I didn't get into that with plays because there's no plays to show you guys. But that was a huge factor in this. So that's really where a lot of my frustration came from. So those first 4 plays we just looked at, all of them were in the fourth quarter. We have some more here, just kind of bad run plays. Here is just, who is it that gets blown up? Right here. So they're just running a gap scheme here, and I'm going to show you some positive gap schemes, but this is just an execution issue that I want to focus on. So you got to get Rosengarten stepping across, because what happens is 97 penetrates, and this is really the story of the Buffalo defense. They penetrated, and that's why some of the trap concepts, power concepts can work very effectively, because when they're penetrating and one gapping, you're just down blocking, getting them out of the way. But what happens here is when McCary pulls, he's to go kind of make something out of nothing. Now, when I'm saying that, you look at the crunch concept that Derrick Henry scored on. So this was great. So this was just to show the design here for you. So they have 3 different traps. So they're going to get Ricard, Falele, and McCary pulling on traps. You're going to get cross blocks from the rest of them. So you're going to see right there. See how Stanley, Linderbaum, and Andrews step out. So that's your crunch concept. And it's going to take advantage of that one gapping. And here's a perfect example. Ed Oliver right here. He's going to one gap the hell out of that B gap. And as he does, he's upfield quick, but Ricard's going to come across and just wash him out of the play. And then you get your seal block here from Linderbaum, your seal block from Rosengarten, Andrews into the 3rd level, and that's going to launch Derrick Henry. So that is why that was so effective. So crunch concept, trap concept, something like that I think would be a lot more effective. You also saw the Ravens run downhill a little bit more. So here you're going to see just a straight up zone play, but he's going to get uphill a lot quicker. And then you see that key block there from Ronnie Stanley. Derrick Henry's going to cut back in, do what he does so well. And then the option concepts. My God, the fact that Todd Monken didn't call one option run is insane to me. I just can't figure it out. So we saw right here. So you're going to get the option concept out of the full house look here. Justice Hill's in. Lamar's just going to follow Likely out there, and Likely's just going to escort him in for a touchdown. It's just such a missed opportunity, because you're making the defense, if they're going to stack the box, if they want a one gap, make them read Lamar Jackson. There's Lamar going to keep it. He's going to follow Andrews, go for a big gain. I think that went for 19, 18, 16. So that was a huge issue with me. So those lack of the option concepts and not taking advantage of those upfield rushers early, or upfield penetrators. So those are two fixes that I think the Ravens need to employ moving forward. And then you see some of the success when they did have success in the run game. Derrick Henry did have a few big gains. It's going to come mostly on gap concepts. So here you're going to get the down blocks. You see it from the, I'll just kind of draw it out for you. You're going to get down blocks from the left side of the Ravens line. Falele is going to pull V2. If you look, you got Ben Cleveland over here, and you got Josh Jones. So they got 7 offensive linemen out here. But we're just going to go out and we're just going to play downhill power football. Again, down blocks from the left side of your line. Falele pulling. Ricardo's a kick-out guy. So downhill power running on the touchdown that Derrick Henry scores. We're in the eye again here. Under center. There goes McCary. So now we're running it to the right side of the line. Same concept, though. Down blocks from the right side of your line. Pull from Patrick McCary. There's your kick out, and then Derrick Henry doing it in third level quickly. That is the key to success for the Baltimore Ravens in this one. Run the ball downhill. Use some of that, take advantage of them rushing upfield or penetrating upfield off the snap. Use your down blocks. Just make sure that you're clearing, obviously. But I think better guard play really needs to go a long way here. And I think we need to be not as cute in the backfield if we're not using Lamar Jackson as a threat, but also the lack of the option game absolutely drove me crazy. So that's what I have for you guys as my first key to victory. We'll be looking at a few of these this week. We obviously don't have film from last week to take a look at, so we'll be trying to fill the channel, fill the content, get you guys ready for Sunday Night Football. And as always, thank you to Prophet X for sponsoring this video. And again, promo code ROADGraders to get yourselves a little bonus money when you sign up. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Peace out, everyone.